So the video most of you guys have been waiting for is finally here. I finally sat down to talk about how to actually close clients inside your AI agency today. If I was starting from $0, couldn't do paid ads, and couldn't do any of the methods to get clients, that costs a bunch of money. And in this video, I sat down with a good friend of mine named Marcus, who's been in the agency space for a little over 7 years, and he structured his entire agency around doing outbound DMs and cold messages to book sales calls on your calendar. We went over the best strategies, best tips on LinkedIn, Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, and how to actually book your first few sales calls to close your first few clients directly through just outreach. So I think this video is going to be extremely valuable if you just don't have the funds right now to go spend on things like paid ads or just expensive methods to close clients. Guys, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay to the end because we went through a bunch of advanced strategies and topics. At the end of this video, Marcus actually gave out a few tips as well that he has not shared out anywhere else. And he's been building a platform that he kind of announced in this video. So that being said, guys, let's jump into the video and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, today we got my good friend Marcus here, who has been in the agency game for, I want to say, what, 7 years or so, Marcus?
I lost count at this point. I think it's like
You've been
8
in
years.
For a minute. Yeah, you've been in the game for a long time, and you've been pretty much this entire time been doing outreach. So I wanted to make this video because obviously I'm a huge proponent of running paid ads for your agency because that's specifically what I do to get your own clients. But there's a huge subsection of my audience that you guys are watching that might not have money for ads. So I want this video to treat as kind of like this outreach masterclass on my channel that I don't really have because, quite frankly, I don't really do it as much. But it's what I did at the start to get my first few clients. And Marcus here obviously is extremely experienced and has been doing this pretty much only specifically for his entire career in the agency game. So happy to hand you the baton, Marcus, and we can kind of just go into this entire masterclass.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Carson. And I love ads. Ads is great. Once you can get into it, it's become like an autopilot jet to land clients. But in the beginning, not all of us have a job to fuel those ad spends. So one of the fastest ways I've grown my agency, even as I was in high school and college, just eating ramen and grilled cheeses because I couldn't afford anything, was doing DM outreach. And I'll dive into a little bit about my story, but to dive into everything, let me just talk to you guys again. Why should you do DM outreach? So number one is, even if you are running paid ads solely, it's one of the best platforms to diversify where you're getting your client acquisition. And God forbid you get into Zuckerberg's Facebook jail. But if that does happen, you know you're not putting your eggs in one basket. So it's great to diversify and leverage DM outreach. The second reason for most of your audience, as you mentioned, Carson, is it's a great place to start because it's super cheap or almost free. The third, which is why we're here, is that it works, and I'm excited to share with you currently what's working in 2026. Quick about me, like Carson said, I've been doing this since Imangaji was starting his own agency and just making 5,000. It's crazy to believe that, but yes, I was actually one of his students. It's fun to just mention that. Back in high school, I had the squeakiest voice. I had a little bit of a Filipino accent, to be honest, and it wasn't a fair advantage for me. So I resorted to something my friend taught me about, which is DM outreach on Instagram. And that's where I got my first 5-10 gym clients. I was in a gym agency. Before we dive into everything, I kind of want to share with you this hierarchy of DM outreach. What is the utmost importance and then what comes next? A lot of people flip it on its head and start looking at, especially AI, delegating it to Claude, ChatGPT, VAs, when you don't even have the fundamentals down to begin with. So we're going to start there. What are the fundamentals of outreach in general, not just DM outreach? Then we're going to work our way up, how to properly set up DM outreach on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. Okay. Then I'm going to share with you message frameworks that are proven to work. And then lastly, how can we automate this? How can we make your life much more easier so that you're not just living in the DMs all the time? Cool. So like I said, the foundation of everything is the fundamentals of outreach. So 80% of success, again, comes from a good offer. And I'm not saying, talking about your services, we offer meta ads, we offer SEO, we offer whatever, AIO, whatever nowadays. What you do need to share is tangible, proven results, right? That they care about, what they desire. It could be more qualified appointments, right? And make that tangible. How many could you get them within 30 days, within the first 7 days, right? We all know of Alex Mosey's book, $100 million Offers. It's why it's one of the best-selling books. So follow that to a T. That's really gonna be 80% of the lever puller. You can have the best script, you can have so many DMs going out, but if you don't have a solid offer, nothing's gonna work. Okay. The second thing is volume negates luck. Okay. So that means, yes, we want to not just send 5, 10 DMs a day. We want to do 50, even to 100 DMs a day. And I'm going to share with you how to do that despite Meta's new algorithm, even LinkedIn's algorithm. right, from banning you and stopping you. The third is being consistent, right? It is a non-negotiable. This is not something you want to just do on a Monday and then stop doing it until Friday. You got to do this consistently. To be very transparent with you, it's gonna be boring at first. I want you guys to get a rhythm of it, but trust me, after doing 2-3 weeks of this, and you guys starting to get a consistent amount of appointments, you're gonna see how powerful this is. The fourth thing is follow-up is necessary, and I'm gonna share with you my message sequence for that. It literally doubles the amount of appointments you get because not everyone's living in the DMs. And then the fifth is fishing where your niche or clients are swimming. So for example, as I say here, roofers are obviously not on LinkedIn. They have their own profiles, but you're not going to catch them there because they're not actively there, right? But where they are active are on Facebook, in certain Facebook groups and communities that they're a part of locally, or on Instagram, okay?
The one thing I kind of double down on a little bit in this slide as well, because obviously for those that have watched my channel, you guys know my story, which is like the first 6 months I got no sales calls, nothing. Like I didn't get anything. And the thing with outreach is it's one of those things, I almost feel like it's a snowball. Like once you really get in the rhythm and you consistently, like the volume completely will negate luck over time. Like, if you do 5 DMs in one day compared to the guy who does 100 DMs in one day, the guy with 100 DMs is working, 20x what you are, right? So he's 20 times more likely to close that client. And it's not just doing it one day, it's like consistent over time. So like the big thing I want to emphasize throughout this video is this takes time, and it's the reason it's necessarily free. It doesn't cost money to do outreach.
So like I was saying, with LinkedIn, I'll make it very simple for everyone. With LinkedIn, it's going to be a lot of white collar business services from your lawyers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, financial services, solar, insurance, anything that's more white collar business services and professionals. That's a great place to go after them. Honestly, if you want more of a specific answer, feel free to message me on Instagram or down below in this video for Carson, and I'll try to go back into the video and respond to you guys. But on Facebook and Instagram, blue collar is where they live. So landscapers, roofers, which I know a lot of agencies are in, HVAC, flooring, etc., anything around the house, you can definitely get in front of them on Facebook and Instagram. Med spas are definitely good on Instagram as well because they like to post aesthetic things. They're actually not on LinkedIn. Dentistry, overall, hard to get in front of just because of how sophisticated they are. They usually have a gatekeeper, but you definitely can reach them through Facebook and Instagram. Just will be a little bit difficult, transparently. And then everything else, gym owners, again, real estate agents are on Instagram, promoting themselves, running their business. But at the end of the day, as much as I just want to verbally tell you what's working right now, I want you to do your own testing, and you'll see the results after 21 days if it's worth it, or should you do cold emails, should you do cold calling, these other outreach platforms, okay? So add it no earlier than 7 days when you get it going, and only after the account has regenerated some organic outreach based off your posts, okay? So the other thing is this is really similar, Carson, you've done cold outreach before. This is really similar to cold email warm-up sequences, right? You want to post 1 to 2 times on your story a day, even during the ramp-up period, right? This really builds up the trust score with Instagram. As much as we want to skip that and get straight into the fun stuff of messaging people, this is what's really going to build the foundation of the health of your account. No different than, again, email outreach. Okay?
Yep.
So the second thing, before you ever send a direct message, you need to be on the prospect's radar. So this is where we kind of get into the sequencing of how do you actually do this safely. And actually, transparently, this gets better results than just manually DMing people first, okay? Gone are the days where you can just send a DM right there and they'll respond back. Instagram doesn't like it, LinkedIn doesn't like it, the prospect doesn't like it, so don't even do it. This is a lot more tedious, but it's going to get you a better impression and a lot more conversions. So like 3 or 5 even of their recent posts spread over a couple of days, right? You can organize this on a Google Sheet, then leave one genuine specific comment on that post that stood out. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. It can be a quick congratulatory, comment on their grand opening, right? Or a new machine they brought into their med spa. Very simple. By the time your DM arrives, you're not a stranger anymore, and specifically, you're not a stranger to Instagram. They don't think you're spamming to them. You're that person who's been engaging with their content. Okay, again, Instagram prioritizes DMs between followers. If you want to send outreach to non-followers, follow them first, engage with their content for 3 to 5 days, then message them. This pre-warming step improves delivery rates by 40-50%, and that's going to shoot up your reply rates, your engagement rates, and ultimately your booking rates. Does that make sense? Yeah, and just to harp back on that, I mean, again, I've had 50 VAs. That meant 50 plus clients helping them with DM outreach. And when Meta made these updates, we really needed to follow this protocol so that our accounts don't go down. We don't have to go seek out new accounts. This has really helped us tremendously stay afloat as a business, but ultimately help our clients get better results. So 100% want you guys to follow this to a T.
One thing also, Marcus, that probably viewers are wanting to know this. Where do you actually get these accounts? Because I know you can make them, but like some people don't have 8 emails sitting around. Do you have a place for this? Is this something like, how do you go about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the places I've used a long time ago, and transparently, they've been kind of mixed results. I honestly shouldn't be suggesting them, but I've used them for a long time, probably like 4 years max, is bulkaccountsbuy.com.
I use them as well.
I know the supplier. Yeah, I know the supplier. Really great. Still has 2018 to 2020 aged accounts, which is more than enough. But honestly, I would actually still make your own accounts if you have to make new domains. Facebook is a mirror image of Instagram, but the context of Facebook is a little bit different. It's more of a groups and community oriented than follow feed based, right? Where a lot of Instagram is like just one-to-one connection. What has worked really well for me and my clients has been Facebook, going into Facebook groups. You can still do manual one-on-one connection on Facebook. What I found to be tremendously better is going into a private group and then messaging people within that group. It's a lot easier because they will see that commonality where you guys are both in the same group there. Again, the pre-warming still applies from Instagram to Facebook. Before sending a DM, spend time in their comments with thoughtful reactions, insights, or questions to their feed, not empty praise, right? A couple of real interactions like that and your outreach has a context instead of feeling random. Again, that's why going into groups is important, because they'll see that you are a part of their group, whether it be roofers, dentistry, etc. So volume. For manual outreach on Facebook from a personal profile, your profile, limit yourself to 10 to 20 messages in the morning and then do another batch in the afternoon. And that's really where, after I would send 10 to 20 from one account, I would just wait for replies or just do follow-up from there, from people I previously messaged the prior day. And again, you cannot do automation DMs through Facebook, at least from my own experience and my own diligence. They detect it really fast on Facebook, and same thing for Instagram. I'll harp in another slide again, but you can do that through LinkedIn. Any
100%.
questions there for these?
Yeah, no, all good. The one thing I think that worked really well for me back when I was starting to get my first initial few clients is, obviously I was in the real estate niche, and I would just go to, like, there's all these Facebook groups of real estate agents and even different like cities as well. And they were just sitting there, it's like you could easily almost see like what they're talking about inside of the community, and you could tailor a message to them based on maybe what they're talking about or their message or something to where it really looks human. In my opinion, you should go out, and if I was starting today, let's say I was starting today with $0, I would, number one, do outreach with a pay per result sort of model in mind, right? So it's like I would outreach to business owners, whether it be roofers, real estate agents, HVAC companies, and I would say, based on that one niche, I would say, we will get you, new jobs on a pay per job basis. You only pay me when we close the job or whatever, right? And that is like, it's very hard for people to say no to that because it sounds like there's no risk. And realistically, I would take the free trials. Like, it is no risk. You're not lying. Like, that is 100% true. And all you have to do, you just use GoHighLevel, set them up in their own sub account there, and you all use all the resources I give you guys on this channel. Obviously, I'll put a link for the description that below in this video. But I pretty much give you guys everything you need when it comes to client fulfillment. And all you have to do is just get them on that initial sales call. And I would start with free trials or the $300 for 3 week stuff like I did.
Now, that's, again, Facebook and Instagram. The main summary is the warm-up period. You really want to be diligent with it. You really want to follow this to a T. When it comes to the sequence of messaging, I know we'll get into the messaging later in this video, the actual nitty-gritty stuff to say. But when you come to messaging, you realize it almost seems like it's a natural occurrence of how you stumbled upon their profile first, how you've gotten to know them first, and then you approach them in the DMs, okay? So LinkedIn, a lot of similarities, a little bit of differences. So the first is you got to know the limits or the core limits of you need to know, and how kind of LinkedIn messaging works. Okay. So again, if you're in insurance, if you're in real estate, law, these business services, you're working with CPAs, consultants, etc., LinkedIn is going to be one of the best pools to go fishing for your clients. Trust me, they're active there. So LinkedIn operates on a two-step system. What does that mean? So unlike Instagram, where most of the time you can just message people without even waiting for a follow or friend request on Facebook, LinkedIn, you gotta wait for a connection request first. Once they accept it, then you can be prohibited. Then you are allowed with permission to message them again. Okay, so that's called the connection request. So LinkedIn's hard limit in 2026 is 100 invites per week for a standard account. And then if you get Sales Navigator Core, which I'll keep saying it again, if you're going to do outreach on LinkedIn, you need Sales Navigator Core. You can double that and get 200, right? So for more volume, definitely get Sales Navigator Core. But hitting that ceiling isn't the goal. A safe, sustainable range is usually around 80 to 120 per week, especially if you're starting a new LinkedIn account or you haven't been using your LinkedIn account. Go to 200 once you've done it for about a month or two, okay? Now, messages to first degree connection. So these are people who are already connected with you, right? Who you guys know each other, you guys are on each other's feed. Approximately, you want to just do 100 new outreach messages per week for free accounts, again, without the premium or Sales Navigator, and then 150 with that Sales Navigator premium. So again, anytime I say if you're going to do LinkedIn outreach, you might as well just get Sales Navigator so you can do way more outreach, okay? Now, messages, requests to non-connections. There is a way to message people without even connecting with them. As I've been saying, Carson, you can only do that with Sales Navigator. So
Yeah.
you want to get Sales Navigators so you can get what's called in-mails. In-mails are ways to bypass that hurdle of waiting for a connection request. Okay, this goes directly to their inbox and goes directly and notifies them on LinkedIn that you message them, even without them knowing who you are. And this honestly is important because that gets me an extra 20 conversations a month and ultimately 5 extra booked appointments, which could lead to 1 or 2 new clients. Okay, so Sales Navigator is the theme there. Now, here's the behavior and the pacing. So sending out all requests on the, say, like on a Monday morning, signals automation. Not a good thing to LinkedIn's algorithm. Instead, distribute it evenly across each week. So roughly 15 to 20 message requests per day to create natural patterns. Never deploy automation on new accounts. Just warm up first with manual activity for the first 2 days, right? Don't go to 100 real quick. LinkedIn will figure that out. So what triggers restrictions? Okay, I want to share again more warnings now on LinkedIn. So watch for these warning signs. A drop in invite acceptance rate, a drop in post impressions, fewer search results than expected, and verification challenges every time you log in. This last part is usually what a lot of people hit, a lot of what my clients hit, because we throttled them too fast and it kind of just stalled, okay? So make sure you listen to these restrictions if they happen. Now, acceptance rate is a key health signal. It's kind of your KPI to make sure that your account is not flagged or it's not being shadow banned in the DMs, etc. An acceptance rate below 30% triggers LinkedIn to tighten your invite ceiling on its own. So LinkedIn already being so sophisticated will let you will signal how much your requests will actually be. And again, it's really just showing lifestyle. Nothing crazy to make you signal, oh, this person's looking to sell me. Okay. I just have a typical concise bio. Okay. A picture of me. Honestly, it could be better. I'm looking for a better picture. I don't mind that. Yeah, just me on a yacht, just going like, hey, what's up? And then pictures of me traveling, pictures of me working out because that's something I am. I'm a weightlift enthusiast. And I actually can start conversations proactively with prospects, especially when I was going after gym owners, something that they liked, which is another thing you can
100%.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then LinkedIn, right? It's a lot more business oriented because that's why people are there is to connect with other business people or grow their brand on LinkedIn. So you're more than happy to put more of like an emphasis that you are an authority, right? You're teaching people at maybe a BNI event or teaching people at your local college. If there's a way for you to teach and get a picture of you in a suit, good, do it. Now with your bio and your about section, all they want to know is what do you do? Who do you work with, right? Their niche. So say you're working with real estate agents, buyers, sellers, whatever. And the third is have you done this before? Or why should I care about what you do for me? Okay. And that's all you want to say here, right? Keep it concise in your about section. Make it very clear in your bio because they're going to skim your profile, even on Instagram and Facebook for 3 to 5 seconds. Any questions there? Any other
No,
insight?
all makes sense. Like one thing with LinkedIn is it's so crazy. Like people that DM you or even just send you an invite request, I get notified on my phone. I don't get notified on my phone for Instagram, Facebook, nothing. LinkedIn, I literally get notified. Watch this video, like people just like blow me up on LinkedIn. But I actually like it's very easy to get through to people once you've like connected with them. Like I check all my, LinkedIn DMs. I literally have an interview with a guy on my channel who went through my 10-hour course. He was posting on LinkedIn and he kept adding me because he was like documenting his journey, and he closed like a few clients from that 10-hour course. And we did an interview on the channel. That was all because of LinkedIn. So like it's very easy to get through to people once you've had that initial, like you said, Marcus, kind of like look like you're legit. And even if you got to kind of like spin it a little bit, if you don't got pictures of you standing in front and teaching a bunch of people on some like whiteboard, just do it yourself. Like go up to a whiteboard or something, have your friend take a photo, like acting like you're like talking to the crowd or something. Like do what you got to do. You know what I mean? To make sure yourself looks like it's, you're trustworthy, because it's going to help a lot. So no, I agree with everything so far. 100%.
Yeah, trust me, I definitely didn't have any opportunities, but in my college, I just went to my business club and spat a few things and had my friend with his whatever Sony camera just
There you go.
that definitely helped. That definitely helped. So let's get into the message frameworks, the fun stuff I know all of you guys have been waiting for, or just skip through into this video. And by the way, if you skip through, go back. But here's a golden rule that you need to know first. The frameworks that works on both platforms is the same. You're opening a conversation. You need to know that. It's about a conversation, not closing a sale there. You're not pitch slapping people. Okay? Every word should be engineered towards getting a reply, working for the next response, then the next response, and then soon, naturally, it'll turn into a booked appointment, okay? So your goal is not to explain your offer yet, to, again, pitch slap them, tell them everything, obviously your prices. It's not the place for it, okay? So there's a 3-part message I like to start with, okay? And remember, this is after I've liked 3 to 5 of their posts. I commented maybe perhaps on one of them, right? This is after you've done that engagement, so it seems more natural. The first part is called the hook, right? This is the personalized opener. This is usually where I love saying something like very recent. I say, saw your recent post about your grand opening in Anaheim, California. Congratulations, right? Something that's a little bit personal. You don't have to go into a whole theater where you give them something for like 5 sentences about how it resonates with you. You're not doing that. You're just saying something quick, okay? The bridge, okay? This is where it becomes more relevant. And, this is actually where a lot of people are controversial when they first read about this, because they're like, wait a second, didn't you say not to pitch slap them? Yeah, not telling them all about your business, but you also want to be transparent about the reason why you're messaging them. So this is where we say something like, yeah, I work with another self-made gym facility in Long Beach on their lead generation via Meta. Curious where you're getting most of your new clients for your grand opening right now in Anaheim. So you can see it's still personalized. I'm still opening it about what I do, but I'm not going to hide it. What all these people do, what everyone does in the DMs, is they try to be too vague, and they try to make it, they become too vague, and the ultimate outcome of it, when you finally do pitch them, is you just 180 them into a pitch slap, and they just feel like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming, right? And that's where they start to ignore you or ghost you. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to my clients. So we want to keep it open. They love it when you're just making it very casual to say like, hey, look, love that post you made. One of my med spa clients, we're helping them sell more sculpting. I was curious, are you selling that, or is it collecting dust in the corner of your studio? That will get a lot of more results than saying, hey, I have a quick question. And everyone's like, what? Maybe they think you're a client or a potential customer. And then you're like, I think I can get you more clients. And they're like, oh, this guy. So
Yeah. No.
yeah.
100%.
Any thoughts on that?
I think the simplest thing here is like, guys, put yourself in the person's shoes that you're trying to reach out to, and think as if you were them opening up this DM, and you were to see someone completely bait and switch you. Like, it's just, people don't like that, like that's or just being too vague, kind of like you were saying, where it's like there's no context, or not being upfront about things. And that's why I think, like I said earlier on the offer part, the offer, Marcus, you said it, is 80% of the game here in the DMs, because people aren't going to spend their time on a call with you unless you think that, or they think that, like, wow, this person has a killer offer. I want to hear about this because this could help me. And generally they view that as like risk to reward. And if you go at it with, this is like a free trial, or this is pay on result only, the risk is extremely low, where the potential is so high where they're almost stupid saying no. So that's really how you get, in my opinion, into the door, into the conversation, and jump on a call with them. But no, 100%, keep going. This is good.
Yeah, and again, this is the first message. This all goes together. It's all 3 parts, so it's roughly 2-3 sentences max. So you're not saying any offer yet. They just know that you work in the med spa space, or you work in your niche, right? And that you notice their recent event or announcement of their growth of their company. You're not pitching them yet. That's the next part. And again, the whole point is to get them to reply back. So with LinkedIn, right? I'm going to go again with LinkedIn. The fundamental is you got to get them to accept your connection request. If we're going to do that versus the in-mails, you can do the exact same thing as Instagram. But for the connection request, you simply just want to, keep it super simple and say, hey, saw our positions overlapped, or saw we're in the same industry, thought it would be nice to connect. That generic line is 10 times better than saying something over the top. Right. It's better than saying nothing at all. It's better to say something, nothing at all. But you can just say something common like, hey, saw you're an outdoor enthusiast just like me. I thought it would be nice to connect. They'd love that. I was also curious if you're focused on your marketing with Meta and how that's changing with AI, right? Something as simple as that. And dare I say this, because it's a B2B platform, you can also add in a line that says, wondering if it would be a good fit for a partnership. Now, that's kind of hypocritical to what I'm saying, a pitch slap, but I'm not slapping them with like features and benefits. I'm literally telling them my end goal of this conversation, because they're going to inevitably ask me what's the catch or what's the point. So I'd rather give it to them right away and say, hey, curious if you're focused on getting more clients right now for your gym, wondering if it'd be a good fit for a partnership. And they'll explore it. They'll genuinely ask you, like, do you work with other gym owners? They might look at your LinkedIn profile and say, hey, I'd love to hear more about what you do. They're very proactive there. So don't be shy about business on there. Again, we're not talking about what you do for them, but you're just opening up the conversation, if that makes sense.
Cool. Good.
So now we're going to dive into the follow-up sequence, okay? So this is what happens if, they don't reply back. And trust me, 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, prospects are not going to book that same day. It'd be honestly a rare occurrence. It's such a rare occurrence. I applaud you if you get a majority of your prospects on the same day. You got to tell me what you're doing. So my whole point of sharing that is that follow-up is necessary, because no one lives in the DMs, right? They have their own jobs. They're running a business, okay? So you got to ping them a couple times. So this is my sequence, simply put. If no reply to the first message, say it's Monday, then follow up with them next day via Tuesday. If no reply to that, follow up with them in 2 days, so Thursday. And if no reply to that, 2 to 3 days. And this is the final one. You could do 4, but usually 3 is fine. And that's, again, if we're talking about sequence, that's Thursday, maybe Saturday, if not Monday, right? So a full 7 days of me messaging them from the start. This is what I say. So my actual follow-up sequence. Name, know you're swamped with work, curious if whatever you're, helping them out with, like landing more roofing clients or roofing jobs, is a focus of yours right now. Then again, 2 days later, as previously mentioned, we're helping other roofers achieve whatever desired outcome they want. Figured you want to know what's working. Great line to just get them to say yes and then immediately book an appointment. And then the third one, again, after 7 or so 10 days of use initially reaching out to them, this is where we say something like, hey, last quick check, go and assume you're good with blank. Doors are always open if that changes. Or another line I love to say that got a lot of gym owners to hop back in with me is I said, hey, seems like you're super duper busy with your current clients. I'm going to put the conversation on the shelf for now. Here, if looking for more clients is a absolute priority. And a lot of them said, sorry, I've been busy. What's up? Let's have a chat. So you can definitely say that. Another one you could say is, again, a case study. But again, I didn't want to add that in there. If you're landing your first client, that's, again, fine.
Yeah, most people don't have that.
Sure. Sure, but if you do have a client, great. That's something you can add in there between the 2 and 3 and say like, we're helping a similar client do this, achieve this. Again, thought you might want to know what's working. Just let me know. Simple as that.
Cool.
So I wanted to take a quick detour to show you something visual. I know I've been kind of giving you a lot of content here, but again, when it comes to organization, which is a very important thing because things can break if things aren't clean, leads will slip through the cracks. This is what my current prospecting channel looks like. It's a simple Google Sheet model. Again, you can basically start doing this for free. So all I am saying is like, who is a prospect? I have my notes. I just want to block off because there's a lot of private info. But I would take notes also of like where they are in the pipeline stage, like ready to be booked, or waiting for them to reply back and engage to my offer.
So these are all leads, their names specifically in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Now this is my LinkedIn one, but like with Instagram, to make your life easier, you can also add a column with like their LinkedIn, or I'm sorry, their Instagram profile URL, so you can just hop right into
Cool.
DMs with them. Now the other one is this is where really organization comes key. These are all dates of when I want to follow up with people or when I did. So follow up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. If I'm doing that many follow-ups, I would just put in the dates, the green signals. Have I done them yet? If not, that's why they're green, like to do. And then yeah, if they're not interested, I just color them gray. If they're interested and they need to book them in, then they're neon blue. Simple as that. I'm not saying you have to follow this to a T to make this work, but do something that really organize, your outreach so that no lead slips through the cracks. Trust me, if you don't track anything, it's all stored up here. You're gonna lose.
Kind of like losing. It's like losing
points.
weight. Like if you don't track your calories, like you're probably not gonna lose weight. So same thing with here. It's like if you don't track your follow ups, your outreach, everything you're doing, then don't expect to close clients. It's kind of the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be frustrated when you're not organized. So I want to talk about automation and delegation to VA specifically. So with LinkedIn, there are great softwares that you can use to automate the initial message and connection. Now, notice I'm saying initial message and connection. When they reply back, you do want to personalize it a lot, especially on LinkedIn, because they will test you at times after your first message with like, what's the catch, what's the cost, and you do not want to automate those, right? I don't think there's an AI tool out there. Even the one I developed for myself and my clients, we still manually message people back once they reply back to us, because we don't want the error of one, hurting a client's reputation, or to just AI slop being incorrect to that question they have. Now, when you use automation on LinkedIn, you got to make sure that your LinkedIn account, your profile, is older than 1 year. Otherwise, LinkedIn's going to quickly detect just the amount of volume you're pushing out, again, with LinkedIn. So there's ones I do recommend, like Prosp.ai, Alfred. I have my own. It's totally great to use. If you want to use it specifically and you should be on LinkedIn, just feel free to message me. But these ones work just as fine. Alfred, Prosp.ai. So again, I've already said this when we're talking about LinkedIn and proper setup. Sales Navigator is a must so that you can have the in-mails, list building with those softwares, and also engaging with prospects' posts. So Instagram. Now, this is the bummer. There is, at least with my limited research, there's no way to do AI or automated DM outreach. The only way, if you really wanted to do this, but you're going to need ad spend, is to run a DM campaign where, you run a video to their feed and then you say, DM me if you want this offer or if you're looking for more clients. That is more inbound DMs, not outbound at that point, but that's the only way to make, DM's funnel really become more automated. But the one thing you can do is still delegate this to a VA. All they need is a proper SOP, right? Teaching of literally your script, access to your account, so they would need their own proxies with it. Or you just give them proxies that you've already set up for yourself with those multiple accounts, and then just have a way with it with a Google Sheet and just keeping things organized.
That's good. The one thing I was going to say, if you go back one slide, is you guys, I'll put Marcus's Instagram in the description below, so you guys can reach out to him around his sort of software and everything. Around scripts and stuff you can delegate to VAs and all that. Pretty much all of that is inside of my Snapshot, as you guys know, on my 10-hour course. So when you guys use GoHighLevel, obviously there's going to be a link in the description. You guys get that. But specifically, I don't even think it's worth, like you said here, for Instagram and Facebook to try to automate it, because you're going to end up making yourself, as you want to transition to work with clients, of course, running their ads, which is your service, and running your own paid ads, you're going to run into some account issues. Your account's going to get hit out of nowhere. And it's just like, you don't want to deal with it. So you want to play safe than sorry, especially on Meta. The one point I wanted to quickly ask you, Marcus, because I feel like we kind of skipped over it, but LinkedIn, obviously Sales Navigator is the thing that people need when they want to really go hard on outreach there. But that's not for everyone, because not every industry and niche of clients that you're working with is even necessary to use LinkedIn for, correct? Kind of how we said at the start.
Correct.
What are like the top 3 niches you think that are relevant for LinkedIn outreach?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. What I've found to be the best are, again, white collar business professional services. So again, real estate, insurance, financial service like a CPA, financial planners, lawyers, private equity firms, really
Yeah.
white collar businesses where they're not in blue collar. Gyms are totally fine, actually. Health and wellness, you can definitely hit up. But honestly, if we're comparing it to Instagram and LinkedIn, Instagram by far will get higher activity just because that's where they're fishing for their clients. I guess the best way to summarize it is you want to, you know, your clients are there if they're fishing for clients there. Okay. So
Yeah.
like real estate
Good way of
agents,
putting it.
they'll connect with people in the corporate world, who are recently locating in their area. And so hence LinkedIn would be the best place. Gym owners know that people are scrolling on Facebook or Instagram a lot. And, with Instagram posts, you can definitely see transformations, of a trainer local to them. So definitely they're going to hang out on Instagram, and you want to be on Instagram. So last thing is using AI. I use a lot of Claude. I would be lying to you if I did not use a single ounce of AI or Claude. What about I use it for a different purpose here? Okay, I'm not using it to actually like run the entire show. I'm still monitoring and spending my time doing it properly, right? Orchestrating it, everything. But here's what I use it for. So one is helping me personalize follow up. I sometimes do get lazy, and that's totally fine, but you got to prompt it really well. What I do is I just take a screenshot of this DM and I say, hey, this person said this. And obviously, you want to prompt your Claude with like your service, your ICP, what you're offering, and what can you do to help the industry. So prompt your AI, ChatGPT, whatever, properly, and then I would just screenshot the actual messaging so it knows the entire conversation, and then it can help with follow up too. Now, obviously, take care of that long dash. That's a dead giveaway. No one uses that, so don't include that. But again, make it into your own words so it's really accurate when they're speaking to you. The second is I do that for researching prospects, especially once I book them in. I do want to do my research, and I would just put in their URL link of their LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., and I would do more research about their business, so you get a good first impression on your intro or your Zoom call with them. The third is finding leads to message themselves. So you can literally ask to scrape all the Instagram URL links of the gym owners in Anaheim, California, in Irvine, California, in Long Beach, California, etc., and then you can just hack away at those with your multiple accounts. I still use old school methods. They still work, like hashtags, softwares like D7 Lead Finder. Again, we talked about Facebook groups being a great native and organic way to create outbound messaging one-on-one with people. And then again, Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is a great place. You can easily use its lead filtering to search for people who've recently posted, who are in this certain industry, who call themselves a business consultant or real estate agent, etc., in certain locations. So use Sales Navigator there. Now, at the end of the day, make your messages concise. AI, what it will use, like with follow-up, it can start to get a lot very wordy and start to say like 3 to 5 sentences. No need. Try to condense it down to one sentence, at most two, right?
Best thing here, I would assume, is making like a knowledge base almost with like and you can apply it to certain chats. I know you can do this, I think, in Claude. I think ChatGPT as well, where ChatGPT you can create like a GPT, but it's just like specifically made and trained up on this specific type of outreach, even depending on the platform. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Meta, whatever it is,
Yeah, download your brain. Just even give it your scripts or your follow-up sequences. Again, show
People
it
could probably just take
examples.
this YouTube video transcript and give it to it, honestly.
Bingo.
There you go.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Cool.
that. But yeah, that's how I use AI to really help me, and then delegating everything else to a VA. You just got to make sure logistically the proxies are fine, and that you're giving them all the resources to basically duplicate yourself once it got to that point. Now, last tangent on that I want to mention is don't get a VA if you aren't winning on the DMs. What I mean by winning, if you're not seeing through your own efforts, if you're not seeing 2, 3 or so appointments minimum a week, what's a VA going to do to prove that? Nothing. They're just literally going to duplicate yourself. and you're a failure. So before you got to master it before you delegate it to a VA. I just want to put that out there. It's never going to be your VA's fault. You're only as good as you train them. But okay, that's basically how I do DM outreach still for myself, for my clients in 2026. Carson has mentioned it many times through this video. He has a lot more resources on top of it with his GoHighLevel, so you can definitely gain access to it. And again, just a little selfish plug if you don't mind. If you want more insights or have a quick question about your niche, feel free to drop it in this video or DM me specifically at my name, Marcus Pizarro, and I'll get back to you. It's how a lot of people are at 100K now, is through organic DM outreach like this.
100%. 100%, dude. Cool, dude. All right, Marcus. Let's go to chat, bro. Talk soon, dude. Peace.
Yeah.